lot to share, a lot to talk about. Positives, maybe a little controversy along the way, but you can be sure that all we will do this Friday night will put you in the mood for what we hope will be a fantastic weekend of sports all across the globe. So thank you once again for joining us. My name is Tonite Bitoye. Oye Wichimachuku is on the show this night. Yemi Adebayo is also on the show. And then as we go along, someone will be joining us. Somebody with a very different idea to football, preserving the future of our sportsmen. Somebody who is putting something together to ensuring that after footballers have played out their active lives, they still have a lot to fall back on when they get old and when they retire from the game. We talked about David Beckham yesterday, retiring to comfort, and we're hoping that Nigerian footballers can also borrow a leaf or two from David Beckham when they stop playing the round leather game. So we'll be joining us later on the show. You'll get to meet him as we go along. But let me welcome those starting off the show with me. Onye Wichimachuku. It's been a long week, a very long one. Federations had the elections, a little bit of controversy. We'll talk about it in the next couple of minutes. But good to have you as well on Sports Tonight.
Yeah, always my pleasure, Tony. I just hope that journalists too could retire to somewhere.
Oh, sure. That's true.
Working night and day.
Working every day, you can retire to comfort as well. Yeah. I mean, you are right. We have to start up maybe a movement.
Absolutely.
And try to get journalists. I mean, Yemi is smart. I don't know why he's giggling.
No,
he's just spent a few years as a journalist, and I think it's important for him to key into that vision.
I think I agree wholeheartedly, actually. When you look at the way some of this, like Beckham, that's going to retire into, wealth, huge wealth, and even
you can even be sure that maybe in his retirement he's making more money.
Exactly, that's the point I'm going to make.
Because you're going to be traveling around, lecturing people,
and you have people chasing him around, making
for endorsement.
About the reporters running after him, and even all the effort they put into it while he's retired, still making more money, and they are actively chasing him all day long.
All right, so probably start a movement on making journalists to also retire to some comfort. We'll think about it and find a way of starting that movement so that we can get to work immediately. All right, but doesn't mean that we are getting close to retirement. We still have long years ahead of us. All right, we'll talk about that as we go on sports tonight. We will, of course, also take a look at Nigerian Professional Football League. There are going to be games this weekend. On the continent, there's going to be CAF Confederations Cup. In fact, as we speak, there's a game going on in Algeria. Oton Setiv and US Bitam are playing the first leg of the final round of the CAF Confederations Cup. We will try to get you the result of that game as we go on. We will also talk about games this weekend in the National League. And then this weekend, English Premier League comes to an end. But Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur are still fighting for one last slot to European football, to CAF Champions League, to UEFA Champions League football next season. So we'll talk about it on Sports Tonight. Gentlemen, before we go on, as we speak, the Spanish Cup is going on. The Copa del Rey is going on. It's the German version of the FA Cup. This Copa del Rey is the massive game currently going on at the Santiago Bernabeu. That's where they are playing the game. Madrid are 1-1 with Atletico Madrid. It's a Madrid derby. And what it finally promises to be. It was Cristiano Ronaldo that scored first for Real, but Atletico Madrid have drawn level now, and it's 1-1 as we speak. And I'm sure that if we are not at halftime, we should be very close to halftime as we speak. But the news is that as we speak, it's Real Madrid 1, Atletico Madrid 1 in the final of the Copa del Rey. The game is going on live as we speak. So we'll update you around that game as we go on, and of course let you see exactly what is happening there. Okay, so that's it for us. Let's go straight to the business of the day, gentlemen, and take a look at some of the other things that we have lined up on sports this morning, this Friday. Let's start from Abuja. This week started with Sports Federation's elections, and the report we initially got was that everything went peacefully. But we said it wasn't devoid of intrigue, it wasn't devoid of some other underhand currents. And as we were celebrating the fact that it was well organized, good turnout, no problems, something happened. One of the federations couldn't be inaugurated. Some of those elected couldn't be inaugurated today because the court order stalled the inauguration of the Handball Federation of Nigeria. Oyin, you said you have been keeping your eyes on that story. Why exactly? What happened? And why didn't we have handball federation inaugurated today with the other sports federations?
Yeah, so a group called Veteran Mega Handball. You know, I don't know how they came about the name. Went to court.
What the mega
handball veteran.
Okay.
Went to court, you know, to challenge, to get an injunction stopping the inauguration of the board of the handball federation, just like you said, and they hinged their, grounds on the fact that there was an electoral guideline, and they kept on telling the sports commission that some parts of the electoral guidelines have been violated, that they should look into it, and they turned deaf ears.
That was before the election. Before
the election, okay. They have violated, blatantly some part of the electoral guidelines, and nobody listened to them, and therefore they went to court, and the result is what we are experiencing today. But I thought the minister knew what he was doing. How can you violate if we are to go by this judgment?
But it's going to be the word of the minister or the word of the electoral committee. I don't really want to put the minister into all of this, because there was an electoral committee that was put in place. I think Dr. Bolaji Ojoba was a member of that electoral committee, if not the chairman of that electoral committee. So it's not so much about the minister; it's about the electoral committee. Did they follow the electoral guidelines?
Absolutely, because what this group have done is to go to court with this document, and the court, going by their procedure, will have to deliver judgment based on the document available to them. If you have an electoral guideline, the most logical thing to do is to follow the guideline, because if you don't abide by the guidelines, then you are leaving loopholes. What
people can catch in like this one.
Yeah. We are all talking of the crisis in Nigerian football. This is the way it started, and this precedent now is dangerous for sports, because all of us agree that we have problems. The sports in Nigeria has nosedived, and with this one now, it is going to be more problems, because you know how it works here. When the issue of kidnapping started,
it started like a joke.
And now
it's a national phenomenon.
For recharge card, people are being kidnapped. So somebody can wake up.
You have to leave something in the board.
Yeah, somebody can wake up next week now and say, okay, these people, the other people did not also follow the guidelines. That
brings me, Yemi, to another issue. The crisis around our football now. A lot of court cases. It started with the first one, and it started like a joke. I'm shocked, because this is handball, and handball is not one of those sports that you probably would think is high-profile sports. But if it is happening in handball, and there's crisis, basketball, for example, we are told that some stakeholders are not happy. Yeah. They are also looking at their options. Basketball could also do the same. Other federations could also do the same. Before you know it, our sports is taken over by the courts.
It's a systemic problem. Even without knowing the characters involved, you could always, know the scenario with which these things happen. When you ignore warning signals, crisis will always erupt. And of course, we won't be able to wash our hands of some of these crises when we're in a hurry to do things. When you hurriedly do things, you would make mistakes, and like you said, you will open back door for problem, things that can be easily exploited. Warning signals should not be ignored. Once there are issues that need to be sorted out, that need to be clarified, even if it's a bogus claim, you still need to sit down and wash your hands off. What you have now. I don't know all the facts in the matter, but of course I know.
But at least one thing we know was that they couldn't inaugurate the Handball Federation Executive Board.
Like you said, that is how it starts. That is how it starts, and we'll continue like that. But for me, I think it's a systemic problem. We should always not ignore warning signs, because the signals are always there, but people always choose to ignore it and go ahead with whatever they want to do.
All right, but warning signals already. I hope we can resolve all of these issues. We will try to get across to the electoral chairman, electoral committee chairman, Bolaji Ojoba, and also listen to the other side to also find out exactly what they feel about all of these things and see how they can be resolved in the interest of Nigerian sports. Okay, let's quickly go on to something different, and this one is about a change in those who are powerful in Nigerian football. There are new members, new Nigerians in CAF committees. You remember that just a couple of weeks ago, NFF president lost a chance to be on the CAF executive committee. But there are Nigerians in different CAF committees, and Kunle Sholaja, editor, Soccer Star, wrote this story today, and after confirmation, we felt it's of interest for us to also